think we have very few. Yeah, we have very few participants today, but I
Sir,
hope.
everywhere there is a festive season, so that could be one of the reasons, sir.
Yeah, even I am assuming that because today is Ugadi.
Yeah, yeah. Somewhere it is like Gudi Parva there in
Padwa.
Maharashtra.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So one nation, many festivals.
But anyway, we don't have options,
Correct, correct, sir.
so let's try to continue. So let's see. How many of you are celebrating festival here? Those who are present here. I am one of them. Anyway, I'm celebrating here. So
Yeah,
anybody else?
we are there for Gudi Parva from Mumbai.
Okay, you are there
Yes, sir.
celebrating.
Here also from
Okay, good.
Hyderabad, sir. We are also celebrating.
Okay, Ritu, Hyderabad. Yeah, yeah. Hyderabad, Mumbai. I mean, AP, Telangana, Maharashtra celebrated. But
Yes, sir.
anyway,
And happy Ugadi, sir.
happy Ugadi, Ritu. So happy Good Padwa, Yogesh.
Yeah, thank you. Same to you, sir. Thank you and same to you.
Good. So what we will do, we'll just quickly, let me not take much time if it's okay, ISTD permits. Let me try to leave you a little early so that you celebrate together with your family.
Yes, yes.
So, but let me focus on just we'll try to recollect certain things what we discussed in the last class, and then few points of what we can do this week. Okay, because there's one important lesson that I want to move ahead. That's about how this change management in the organizations can be implemented. So before that, can we just recollect what we discussed in the last class? Anybody remembers what we discussed? Nobody?
Sorry, sir, but I could not attend.
I think you have to respond yes or no. Only then I can proceed.
Sir, as I can recollect, we at the last of the session, actually I joined late and we discussed that what changes are possible or within our purview and what we can't change.
Yeah, that's the last question that I left you with.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So before that, we discuss certain things. So the most important, maybe just for the recollecting, I'll just quickly move about what we discussed. We discussed about the change management in the organization can happen because of various reasons. It can be a structural change, it can be a strategical change, and it can be a product change, it can be a cultural change, it can be a technology, whatever it is. So the reason could be anything, and it can happen for any reasons. And then we spoke about what are the various forces for this change. So demographical forces, it can be like, you wanted to shift your office, you wanted to change your house, whatever it is a kind of change. Or you want to transfer somebody from your team to somebody else, are you getting transfer? These all demographical changes we speak about. Then we said environment, social changes. Like what are the social changes? People are moving from environmental. So that's where, in Delhi, if you look at this is a system like odd and even number system, that's a change. You are forced to do that. Or maybe what happens because of the COVID, people moved from work from office to work from home. Now because there is no COVID, then people are coming back to office. So it's a social change which demands you because of some reasons. Then political change, which because of the political norms that there is a difference, and because of that there are changes will happen. So we spoke about what are the minimum wages, what are the wage codes which are coming in, maternity act which has come in now, GST system, all those things are a political change. Then we have a technological change where movement of because of the innovation in technology that is impacting the organizations, and then we move from there. Then we spoke about economic change. Probably economic change is because of the fluctuation in the economy. Probably when there is a recession, people fall back. When there is a COVID, people fall back. But when market is in very good condition, when there's a huge demand, people shifting changes. It's like a very simple. Suppose if the market is good condition, what happens? We demand while we change a job, we demand 50%, 60%, 200% also. There are some people who demanded for the job change. But when there is a recession, even people wanted to work with half a salary. So these are all economical changes. So these are some of the changes which are forced naturally. It's not wanted, but it's because of the force. Now we spoke about some are unplanned changes, some are planned changes. And then we spoke about different models of change. So in those models, remember, these are some of the models we spoke about. One is the static change management process we spoke about, where, it moves in the verticals of performance versus time. So it speaks about the first three stages, which says it's very resistant to change. People are not interested to change. Then it moves to integration stage, and then transformation stage, and then integration change. So that means in the first stage, resistance to change, transformation stage, and then adaptation stage, what we call it as. So this is how three stages that the Satir model speaks about. Now the same thing, if you look at the father of change management, Kurt Lewins, speaks about unfreeze, change, and refreeze. So if you want to change something, first you make the people to unfreeze, get out of the existing customs and systems. They move out. And once they move out from there, then you implement the change. Then once you implement the change, then once you standardize it, then freeze that particular thing. So that means you are moving from this position to this particular position, what we call it as. Maybe recently I was also writing one of the articles on this one. Very interesting, which speaks about, let me explain to you what it exactly speaks about. Now, how many of you, most of you would have probably using this treadmill. Do you all use treadmill? Yeah. So when you use treadmill, now what are the things that we see is that this is known as actually hedonic treadmill effect, this change. Now, if you look at this treadmill, what happens while we get onto the treadmill in the beginning? Probably you click on with a 3, 4, or 5, whatever the number that you want to start with initially, you start. Then once we get accustomed to that stage, okay, then we increase. Now what happens? We are informing our body that we are stable at this particular stage, and then we are moving into next stage. So that's where unfreezing begins. And then you change from 5 to 7. That's where the change happens. And as soon as you change, what happens? Suddenly the speed picks up. Certain times your steps will not be matching with the speed of that. Probably you reduce the speed, or probably you increase your speed of your movement, and then you stable it. Then you freeze it for some time. That's a refreezing stage. You wait for some time, and then once you work on that and you say you got used to it and it's still slower, then unfreezing stage it comes in. So then again you change. So this is actually known as a hedonic treadmill symptom. So this is how the change happens in the organization. This is one of the methods that we have here. And then after Kurt Lewin's stage, then we have also the next change model is that these are the details about what we discussed about that particular Lewin's change model. So we have a Kubler-Ross model. In the Kubler-Ross model, we again spoke about the 6 different stages, where initially when there is a change, it is the shock. Once the shock comes, people will say, no, we don't want. The first thing that comes is the denial. Then in spite of the denial, you implement a change, people become angry. And people don't want to accept it. Because there's no other way, then slowly you get into a depression. Then slowly you start accepting it. Now there's no other way than to do it, you accept it, and then it becomes an integration. Now it's like the olden days, what happened when there was a typewriter. I gave this example, typewriter. So when people innovated computers, then organizations wanted to move from computers to, typewriters to computers. What everybody said, no, we don't want. We don't immediately said no. The purpose could be anything, maybe loss of job or skill improvement, whatever it is. They said no. So immediately, no other way, we have to move it. And people hesitated. Why? What we call agitations of began. People stopped coming to the organizations, whatever it is, some reasons. It's like, coming back to office from work from home today. So people said, come back. Then people said, no. Some people resigned. Some people, they did not want to come, stopped for a few days. That's anger which was coming. Now, what happened in spite of that? It's a mandatory 3 days you have to come. It's a mandatory you have to use computers. Then people fell into a depression. Wow, now again we have to travel all the way so much, so long distance and using this and everything. But slowly what happened? You will have to accept it because it's a mandatory, then you have accepted it. And today it's become part of life. Now that's again, he speaks about these are the different stages where people will follow. And definitely the first stage is the shocker stage. And then Kotler, again, he speaks about a different principles. Again, he speaks about the 8 levels of principles. But in 8 levels, if you summarize, it's the same. So he speaks about first, if you want to have a change in the organization, you need to establish a sense of urgency. Now, once the urgency is done, then coalition should come in. There are few people who should support this particular thing. Then that's where you create a vision. Once you create, you communicate. Once you communicate, you act on the vision. Once you acted, then implement a short-term wins. Celebrate short-term wins. And then that's where the movement happens. Then once the momentum has happened, then institutionalize it. So that's a change. Then we have the 6-box model, which speaks about all the 6 areas. It's a Wiswin 6-box model. It's Wisboard's 6-box model. It speaks about purposes. What business are we in? How do we divide? Does someone take this one? Ask these 6 questions. Then it becomes easy for you. Then sequential of events. It speaks about environmental forces, internal forces, need for change, initiate change, and implement. Then we have the last model I spoke about, Atkar model. Atkar is awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, reinforcement. That's a very simple. Create awareness, then support the desires, then inform the people, then ability, how it can be changed and how it improves, and then reinforcement, the sustenance of it. So these are the changes that we have looked at. So am I clear with all these 6, all the models? This is where we left. Any doubts, any clarifications?
It's clear, sir.
Clear, good. And so now, what can't we change? And we discussed last time. Now, let me tell you certain things here. When we go for a change, we have seen in almost all the models who speak about is that the first one is the shocker or denial or maybe resistance or unfreeze, whatever you call it as. The first stage is resistance. Now tell me why people resistant to change. What could be the reasons people show resistance for any change? Yeah.
So comfort zone is very much desired by everyone.
So you are saying comfort zone.
Yes, sir.
So probably, what do you mean by comfort zone?
Comfort zone, I mean to say that we are in a habit, means we have formed a habit of doing certain things in a certain way. Whenever
Okay.
external force pushes us to get out of that, so it I can say make us feel uncomfortable.
Okay. Now, comfort zone, in suppose, example, your salary is X and then the management wants to increase to X plus 1. It's a change which is happening.
Yeah, that's a positive change in my sense then.
So why people resistance to change? Now, this is where I want you to reframe your statements.
Okay. So herein means that's the external force which is making me to not to be uh, in the desired state. Means in the because getting more salary is a desired one, but
Okay.
getting less salary means to be means needs to be not desired one, I can say.
Okay. So the comfort, people are more adjusted to their comfort zones. Now they don't want to move away from their comfort zone. Now they don't want to move away from their comfort zone, which is probably unforeseen, whether it's a positive change or negative change. And I'll also tell you, there is a very beautiful case in one of, I think somewhere some time ago, IT employees, they did not want to take a promotion. Though the management wanted to give a promotion, they did not want that promotion with a hiked salary. You know, this is a change which is happening, which is again progressive change, but even that progressive change was restrained. You know, the reason being, they were promoted from executive to team leads position. Now, when it is a team leads, now there was a survey which was conducted which says the reason is most of these people, they were getting better incentives being an executives directly. And when you are a team lead, it's a big headache for all the team members to manage. They did not want to take that risk element. So because Kapoor spoke about, I'm just recollected, I'm recollecting that particular incident or that case study, which has happened, I think, when IT was in boom. Okay, because, those days, whatever you achieve, you are getting tremendous results. That's why. Okay, good. Any other reasons why people restrain change, resist change?
It could also be insecurity among them.
Like when you say security, what do you mean by that?
So, say for example, in my organization, there were new process that came in. We already had 7 line of business, and another process came on trial to make things easy. The rest of the 7 process, they all got insecure. There were a lot of gossips among themselves. Like because of this process, we're gonna lose a job, and there was a lot of chaos in their heads. Although management was convincing them, no, no, this is for all the betterment and all that thing. This will reduce your workload. So that's what I observed.
Okay. So that means the people are insecure about what is going to, unaware of what is going to happen. Probably that would lead them to job loss. Okay, good. Anything else?
Sir, people may also resist change if it challenges their existing belief system.
Okay, very good point. But can you elaborate a little bit?
Sir, like if someone does not invest in stock market and
Hmm.
he knows since his childhood that it is very risky and certain limiting beliefs are there into his or their mindsets, then irrespective of whatever education we give or orientation we give, they'll always resist that particular change. They will not be ready to invest into the stock market at all.
Okay, beautiful. It's based upon the belief system also the people resist change. Wonderful. Any other points?
So adding to Naren's point,
Hmm.
but it is in a different aspect. Suppose some of your junior is getting promoted. So this
Hmm.
is another change. Means it's going to hurt your, you can say, ego, or means you can say in other words that the superiority you had over the others.
Good. This again connecting both the points. So most of us, we are under a belief system that only the seniors should be hierarchical. Juniors should always follow the seniors. But I know there's a beautiful study again here as also. I think when the premier B schools like IIMs, IITs, people when graduated, and suddenly they brought and made them as a managers or in charge of certain segments. Most of the people in the organization started resisting the change. They started saying, how can we report to those youngsters? They are freshers. How can they do that, this, and all those kind of things? So that's again, it's a belief system. The belief system is seniors are always supposed to be on the higher and juniors are to be lower. But at least now, over a period of time, that changes happen. Now we are trying to refreeze. It's no more an experience, it's about the skill set. Okay, good. Anything else? Any other points?
Also, a fixed mindset, what most of the people have, you know, like I'm doing so well right now, I'm a good performer, and everything is going good. And this is also not affecting my mental peace. I can balance my work life and home. And now suddenly, you know, things change and entire performance I have to rework all over again. And my task is now given to you. And I have to, start from ABC. And that brings up a lot of stress and, disturbs your mindset. Like, now you get start argument in your house. Everywhere you go, you get frustrated. And a bigger challenge has been given to you because you are a good performer. And that keeps coming. So I used to take this session in my company called adaptability. So I had one slide wherein I used to explain them a fixed mindset and what goes into that fixed mindset, and that's what resists people to change, especially in our culture in India, especially in Mumbai. I'm from Mumbai, so people in my organization are working for 15 years, but they're not valued for that because the top management is quite young, and they're like, we need to wipe out these 15, 10 years people. And they sometimes they express it to me, and as I wonder they should be appreciated. So I have bundles of certificate that is supposed to be given to them for the time that they spend, and I was just going through them 10 years, 15 years, and that has been halted from distribution. So I think your fixed mindset is and not resisting to adaptability. The change is the only thing that will keep happening all the time. You cannot be, and these people are happy on the same salary for 15, 16 years.
Yeah.
So I'll give you one more example. This lady, my friend called Elizabeth, she
Hmm.
joined this organization when she got pregnant.
Hmm.
She just got married, and then after 3 months, she was pregnant. And that baby is now in FYB.com. So she's
Oh.
almost 16 years now. And she's completed 16 years in the organization. And she holds a designation of assistant manager.
Hmm.
So she was like, I got the opportunity and I just let it go because my priority was my baby to balance my work and home. So she nurtured the baby is going into college, and now she took the AM position just a year ago.
Oh.
And the new guy is the person that she's reporting, he's just married.
He's a
And
manager.
yeah, the manager. And they just talk about her like, she's not capable enough. It,
Huh.
it took 16 years to her to become an assistant manager. And they start to, create things difficult for her. So, so that's
No,
what I
that's
have observed in my organization.
no. I think it's a common more or less in all the
Maybe,
organizations.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Sir,
And as you also
just to
said,
add here.
as you also said about that thing, juniors getting higher package and seniors are reporting to the juniors with a lower package. I have my friend working in Infosys in Mumbai.
hmm.
Sorry, not Infosys, L&T. He's
Hmm.
engineer basically, and he is 42 years old, and he's
Hmm.
always frustrated about this fact.
Hmm.
He is telling me like, the college guys are getting double the package, and I am supposed to report to this guy.
Hmm.
And he joined a theater group as an
Hmm.
artist, and he wrote the scene and he
Hmm.
played that character on the stage. And I could see that, the way he was living the character, I was like, he's very professional. And then he told me, like, Amit, this is what is happening in my organization. And the top management really don't care because they get fresh talent with fresh
Correct.
curriculum and fresh agenda. Now, Gen Zs and all those things, although they're not to be believed, we hear lot of negative things about them, but they're very quick and fast. There's also positive side to it.
Correct.
That's it.
Yeah. Yogesh, you wanted to say something.
Yeah. Just adding to what Amir is saying. Actually, I respect what his opinion is all about, because this is what I also see across the industry. And you rightly mentioned that it is the common scenario. And more in my organization also, the people are there are many people who take retirement. They are like companies like hire to retire, lifetime. What you say, that appointment. Uh, so it is. Like people are there for 30 years, 35 years, and they come, they eat their dabba and go back. Okay. So they are like, they are also, see, company is very good in terms of like HR policies, and people are not also, what you say, that making them suffer or whatever. But another side of the darker side is that they are not growing as well. This is the darker side. And the more darker side is like, even any manager who comes, as a new person, or sitting there for the 10-15 years with them only, so they are least bothered about their, growth and whatever. They have preconceived notion like, यार ये तो ऐसे ही रहने वाले हैं, ये तो आएंगे जाएंगे डब्बा खाएंगे, एंड अपना आवर्स पूरा करेंगे, 8 hours का जॉब, मंडे टू फ्राइडे, दैट्स इट. They can take 2 hours early, 2 hours late also, and work from home options for ladies, 2 days in a month, and there are other facilities also. So that is how it is. Okay. So in that way, what it is, not only the those people loss, organization loss is also there, and the people who are, like, adult learners specifically, those like us also, those who have, somehow we take out time and get into all, those, so that it only two cases are there: either we want to learn or we want to add value to our professional career as well. Okay. So we also get suffer, we also get victimized because of that scenario. So either we move in the next, organization, and we remain in the same organization, but it is like it's a big ship. Who will, put your hand into that, engine, to whatever you want to fix anything, your hand will be no more.
Yes,
I hope you are getting my point. So,
yes,
so,
yes, yes,
so
absolutely.
no, yes. So nobody, want to take, that guts. If anything, you can see even completely what is black, what is, white. But still, you cannot, because you understand that you only will be proven wrong. That is
Yeah.
how it is.
So this is, I think, a common what happens. The reason could be, you would see most of these people started working with the first generation leaders, entrepreneurs, first generation
Right.
entrepreneurs. Now,
Right.
those people initially, now what we are feeling, that these youngsters are coming and then they are progressing for their career, or aspiration for career progression is very high. Now, those days, these people whom you call it as so-called maybe 15 years, 16 years, they have been working. They were also working those days with that first generation entrepreneurs, and then they started establishing a business. And they said, now it's a comfortable, we are in comfortable position. Now it's a role of the other people, and we don't mind even to reporting them. They have to take back. They have to go aggressively, and they don't work for their designations. They don't work for their salaries. They don't mind reporting to somebody else. They don't have aspirations, because from that stage they got into a comfortable level. Now, probably the second generation entrepreneurs, when they entered in, the change is happening. Like a first generation entrepreneur has moved out, the second generation entrepreneur has come in. Now this second generation entrepreneur is thinking like the first few days of first generation entrepreneur. So that means this guy wants to build his business from here to upper level. But these people, whoever has started with the business in the same business with the first generation entrepreneurs, they're very stable. They don't have those aspirations. Now that's a biggest challenge. And for businesses, because they've been with a company for so long, so-called loyalists, now they don't want to touch them. It's okay. Let them do it. But the problems which people are facing is that the new generation, whoever is entering inside to with a lot of aspirations to grow, they're not able to get the work done from these people. That's where the conflicts will happen between these. Now, this is common across in all the organizations, because businesses believe in the loyalists. Even including my organization, if you look at, or any organization, if you look at, every business will have certain key people who are there from since beginning, who are not in the key positions, but they are there just to give information to the management. That's how they keep on working. Okay, that's a one segment. So they never expect change. They never want anything else except their life is stable, and they want to, as you rightly said, hire to retire. Now they don't want to anything else except retirement from that particular place.
Correct.
Yeah. So good. At least we have some restraining changes. Let's see a few more things. Why people resist for changes? We will see just few more things, and then. So if you look at here, why people do resistance to change is that first one is self-interest. Fear of personal loss is perhaps the biggest obstacles to organizational change. Okay, what is personal loss? Now, when we speak about this personal loss here, probably it is about their self-worth. It is about their command and dictatorship in the organization. It is about their proficiency in the existing system and style and structure, whatever it is. So that means it's I has probably it will move away. Now, suppose example, if I'm moving my office to X place to Y place, now they are more worried about now this place I've been sitting in this position in this direction for all these years because of this position and this direction. Now my job is stable and I was able to do so many things. Now if I go there, it's called as a no. I'm just using coining this term as a seat syndrome. Probably people will have that. So that's again for them. What happens if I change my seat? What could happen? We never know. They don't even think about the positive future. Because when we speak about automatically negative attracts for us, any change, the first thing is the negativity which comes in. We don't see that progression. So the second is lack of understanding and trust. Now, this is the most important element for most of the people to get resistance to change. They do not understand the intended purpose of a change and then distrust the intentions. Now, this probably you would experience with a lot of people. Suppose if you change, guy, we want to transfer you from this location to that location. You know what happens the first thing? If you're transferring me, did I do something wrong? Is my performance bad? Why are you transferring me? Now, the purpose is actually probably this guy is doing well, probably want to make him as an in charge of certain bigger region, but they don't want. For them, first and foremost, they do not believe your statement. The intentions of the person who is the in charge, they don't believe. It's a very simple. Now, probably when this ChatGPT came inside and when people started using it, a lot of people were afraid. When you said, now we are moving from this place to that, then what happened? Now, when people are called back from work from home to work from office, why people are thinking, what happened? We are doing wonderfully well. Why there is a change? Why people are calling back? The trust element is a very, very high here. They do not trust intentions. Now, the third is uncertainty. Now, probably this is a mistake of the change agents. The change agents probably, they just say that you are transferred. They just say that we are moving. They just say we are reorganizing the structure. Now, unless there is a proper information, in spite of you have a detailed information, people fall back to the second statement. So that's a lack of understanding and trust. Now, in spite of giving that clarity, clear picture, the security, but still they do not trust on the elements of the people. Now, this is where the most dangerous, which from the change agent's side, we take things for granted. What is wrong? There's also very, very interesting element. I'll tell you. There's one organization which moved from. They wanted to transform their culture. They wanted to move from local to global. That's where the focus has been. So they worked on various things, how local to global can be moved and so on. And then they worked on various elements. And then simply we started introducing a lot of cultural aspects in that organization. Now, suddenly what happened? Why this change is happening? Why, what is happening? Why people are coming from outside? Why all those things started taking place? Now, when we cross check later on, why these interventions are getting setbacks, why they are getting failed. Now, it's understood the insider people were not exactly communicated in terms of why this transformation is happening, why these interventions are being introduced. So unless the communication happens into a greater level, we never know. I'll also give you another case. There was a school which has been in the market for almost 25 years. With almost 3,000 people they are operating today. They're wonderfully well established, which is known for its standards, values, ethics, and everything. It has become a very brand in that particular locality. Now, suddenly, after 20 plus years, the management, they have sold off that particular school to somebody else who is one of the biggest groups. Now, the resistance was from the parents. Now, everything has happened internally. The transition was taking place. Suddenly, the parents started seeing the name of the new business owners together with their existing school name. And then people started wondering what's happening. Then a lot of people rushed back to the management asking why this change is happening. We put our children just because of you, your credibility and those things. Now you are moving. Now people never understood the school is getting into getting into merged with a bigger brand for a bigger visibility and bigger um, uh, ecosystem, but parents were against it. The simple reason, because of the lack of information about the future. Now, unless that is given, unless that is being certified, now they took almost 6 months time to make sure that the children do not leave that particular school. They have to convince, do a lot of programs after the changes happen. Now, today, the parents have realized and then slowly they started accepting, now this is for the greater good. Now, this is what I'm exactly saying, very important from change agents side, how this needs to be communicated. Then the next one is what we are looking at is different assessments and goals. People who will be affected by innovation may assess situations differently. And please understand, human mindset is not same. Human mindset under all the circumstances is not same. Now, probably we will say, I'm sure most of you are trainers. I don't know. I want to show you something. How many of you have gone through this ink bolt test? Are you aware about ink bolt test?
No.
Anybody? Hello. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can. I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm just asking ink bolt. The test is, how many of you are aware? Let me explain to you what is ink bolt. If you have played this, when you are a child, we used to use ink pens. Then you used to drop a ink on the paper, and then you fold it, and then you open it, and then you get a different shapes. You ask, what do you see? Did you play this?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. When you played, did you observe whether all the people whom you showed that particular picture have seen the same thing, interpreted the same thing in a same way?
No, sir, never.
Now, why? This is let me show you. Here I have something here. I don't know. This is not visible to you. Okay, fine. So why people do not interpret the same thing in the same way? You have 10 people, maybe probably viewing that particular thing, and then they interpret those 10 people, they interpret it at least 5 to 6 different ways. Some say we are seeing bird, some say we see eyes, some say we are seeing some animal, some say we just see some lines on this. Why people interpret in different ways? Now, the reason being, people are different in terms of their understanding. People are different. I think we discussed about in the first class, people have got a different mindsets based upon their backgrounds, based upon their socio-economical situations, and all those things, their interpretations are different. Now, that's where most of the time people start failing to understand certain things when we are speaking about this. Now, let me give you, I'll just write one thing. Just give. So I'm writing here. Yeah, can you all read this statement?
Did you see Ramu driving my car?
Wonderful. Ritu, can you just translate in your own language?
Okay. So it's a question being asked to Ramu, sir, whether he saw someone driving his car.
No. I'm just asking you to translate this into your language.
Okay. And in Telugu, it's fine, sir.
In your own language, I'm saying.
Okay.
If you're Telugu speaking, translate into Telugu.
Okay. నువ్వు రాముని చూసేవా నా కార్ డ్రైవ్ చేస్తూ
నువ్వు రామును చూసావా నా కార్ డ్రైవ్ చేయడం? ఓకే. Anybody else? You just translate this statement in your own language.
सर, क्या आपने रामू को मेरी कार चलाते हुए देखा?
क्या आपने रामू को
मेरी कार चलाते हुए देखा?
हाँ, मेरी कार चलाते थे. Okay, next. I want all of you to participate in this because the more number of responses would give us a
सर,
proper understanding. Yes,
क्या
sir.
आपने रामू को मेरी कार चलाते हुए देखा?
Can you start again, Sudhakar?
क्या आपने मेरी कार रामू को चलाते हुए देखा?
Okay. क्या आपने मेरी कार
रामू को चलाते हुए देखा?
Okay, fine. Anybody else?
Sir,
Yeah.
in Tamil, நீங்க
Oh, Guruvinder.
ராமு என்னோட நீங்க என்னுடைய நீங்க ராமு என்னோட கார் ஓட்டிட்டு போறத பாத்தீங்களா?
நீங்க என்னுடைய
காரை ராமு ஓட்டிட்டு போறத பாத்தீங்களா?
Okay, நீங்க என்னுடைய கார். Okay, fine.
காரை ராமு ஓட்டிட்டு
car
போறத
vandi
Yeah, got it.
வண்டி
Got it.
வண்டி வண்டி.
I'm keen on those things. That's right. Okay.
In
Yogesh.
Hindi, sir, it will come like, did you see
No.
Ramu
It is not. It will come like. I'm asking you to translate your understanding.
Okay. तो क्या आपने रामू को मेरी कार चलाते हुए देखा?
Start once again.
क्या आपने रामू को मेरी कार चलाते हुए देखा?
Okay. क्या आपने रामू को? Okay, fine. Anybody else? We have only 4 or 5 people in the class.
Sir, it's the same Hindi only, same.
Yeah. Go ahead, Naren.
It's the same, sir. क्या आपने
Don't say same. Just say the statement.
Okay. क्या आपने रामू को मेरी कार चलाते हुए देखा? It is the same.
Okay. Next, Sandeep.
रामू ने मेरी कार को चलाते हुए देखा.
रामू ने
मेरी कार को
Okay.
चलते हुए
Okay, good.
देखा.
Okay, good. Next. Why we don't have people in the class? No. Karishma, Divya, Saraf. Amir, you also have to say.
Yeah. I was thinking Marathi sentence because I'm from Mumbai, but my Marathi is weak.
Please go ahead. Marathi also is okay.
But my Marathi is grammatically all
No,
postmortem.
we are not interested in your grammar. We are interested
Okay.
in your
I'll try in
intention.
I'll try in Marathi.
Yes, please.
तुम्ही रामूला माझी कार चालत बघितला काय?
Can you be little slower because it's tough to catch.
Louder and slower.
तुम्ही रामूला
Thune Ramula.
तुनी
Okay.
रामूला
Tuni is you, correct?
या
Okay, fine.
रामूला माझी कार चालत बघितला काय?
Okay, good. Good. We understood what you wanted to say. So I'm not able to repeat. Yeah, Zahira. That's all. I think rest of them are on mute. Fine. So, did you observe anything when so many, at least 6-7 people spoke about this particular thing? Did you all observe anything here?
Yes, sir. The communication has gone haywire actually in some cases.
Communication has gone haywire. Okay.
It's all about how you perceive the narrative.
So can you be little elaborative?
Yes. So while we talk about, let's say, for example, if I would have to navigate this, the sentence remains very crisp itself and as self-explanatory. That has anybody or have you seen Ramu driving the car, right? But once we interpret it or convey the same to the other person might think it and perceive the sentence and narrated it in his or her own way. So the narrative
That's what
creates an
exactly I'm
impact.
trying to pitch in, Ishan. I wanted to understand why people interpret the same sentence in different way. Ishan.
I think maybe their perception is towards like that. So let's say, for example,
Okay.
perception can be a scenario in this case, irrespective, even if everything is going like in a positive direction or a blank slate, people do observe them or perceive them and then express them in their own language.
Okay, got it.
So
Okay, good.
perceivance can be a scenario wherein because of perception is there, predefined notion is there, due to which we are or there can be another example, another reason could be that we want to show that we know it all, as in the aspiration to just given an statement, just to pass on a statement to
So
show that.
I understand two reasons from your statement. One is the perception of the people, and second one is because it's a translation is happening to local
Correct.
languages.
So we don't
Because of
want
that.
to,
Okay.
keep ourselves at the back, and we want also that our opinion should also be presented in front.
Got it. Okay.
Whether irrespective if it's right or wrong, doesn't matter.
Okay. Got it. Now, let me tell you this. I'm sure most of you would have attended communication classes, or most of you would have probably delivered communication classes. And I'm speaking only because the last point we spoke about why people pursue. Now, usually I use this particular statement in my communication classes as well. Now, if you look at, and I ask the same set of people, suppose if all Telugus, all Hindi people, or Marathi speaking, or Tamilians are there, if there are 5-6 people of the same group people, look at their interpretations. Like we had at least 3-4 people translating this into Hindi. Now, if you look at those statements, you will discover wonders. Now, why this particular thing? Now, if you look at, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, total 7 words. Living dead. you have 6 different words in this particular sentence. Now, me as a human being, I'm keen on only one word in spite of all those rest of the words. Now, this particular statement will be interpreted in 6 different ways if people, depending upon their understanding. How people can interpret one single sentence into 6 different ways. Now, suppose if I ask, did you? My focus is rest of the things are useless for me. I'm more focused about you. Now that's where I am stressing on, did you see Ramu driving my car? Tune deka? Nuvu chusava? So which comes in exactly ningal. So all those statements, what is most focusing on is that you. Rest of the things are useless for me. I am more wanting to know whether it is you. Second, did you see? I'm more interested about you seeing it. Or did you hear from somebody else? Did you see it or did you hear from somebody else? So my confirmation is not you, but your visual perception, whether you have seen with your own eyes. That's where I twist my sentence. My understanding changes over there. Third, did you see Ramu driving my car? Ramu chal gaya. So my interest is it Ramu or somebody who looked like a Ramu? I'm not bothered about whether you saw it, you heard it, whether he drove it, but is it Ramu? Because I have a doubt about him. Fourth, did you see Ramu driving my car? Was he driving or was he standing near the car? Is he really driving? My keen interest is whether he was driving. Next, did you see Ramu driving my car? Is it mine or somebody else which looked like mine? Usually doesn't drive mine. Probably is it mine? So that's where you have a doubt. And the last one, did you see Ramu driving my car? Is my car or is my bike or cycle? Really is a car or bike? So that means when this particular statement appears in front of me, I can have a 6 different questions in terms of understanding. Now, when I have a 6 different questions to understand one single statement, now why I asked you to translate into your own local language is that probably the local language is the one which brings out your original intention, what is in your mind. Now, that's why if at all you have to translate just it as it is in English, you will have to focus on the way that people are stressing that particular word. You see Ramu driving my car. You never know what. Now, each of those one single sentence can have a 6 different meanings in the mind of a reader. Author is a one person, he has written one single statement. Author has written only one single statement. Now, reader will have a 6 different interpretations of that particular statement. Now, that's why I was telling you, most of the time, this statement, different assessments, people have a different assessments about that single statement. People will be affected by innovation, may assess the situation differently. Don't assume that all the people will assess the situation in the same way. They assess the situation differently. Now, that's why the role of a change agent is a lack of information about the future. You have to give a clear-cut picture about how do you communicate to the people. How do you ensure that all the people have got the same understanding? Now, probably you would experience when you initiate this change agent in the organization, change management in the organization, initially a couple of people will say, yes, they will accept. But slowly they start coming out with a lot of doubts. From where do they get those doubts? Because they interact with the other sets of people. Other set of people will interpret this same statement in a different way. Then they come back to you with the questions. That's where the resistance happens. Now, probably we will see a lot of assumptions about the resistance. Now, whatever we have seen, what I think we were discussing about the different changes. I think Ishan was talking about these assumptions. If you look at ideological changes, so ideological assumptions, the cause is ideological. Then resist because the change is contrary to values, philosophical stance, or morals. Example, religious pharmacists selling a contraception or increased petrochemical use for the environmentalist. So the change what you are introducing is again going ahead. If you'd have seen a lot of cases, somebody raped a girl, the public rape. Immediately, what police people say, let's murder that guy in the presence of everybody in the public, shoot him out outrightly. Now, what happened? Humanists will come and say, how can you do that? Now, each person will have their own perspective. Now, this ideology, somebody believes in that ideology, they start explaining from their own perspective of this ideology. Then you have a social perspective. There are social disruptions or important relationships or loyalty or to others harmed by the change. Survivor effects, nonlinear network effects on the information system. So now what happens to these things? The social change, what happens? It's a job loss. There's no social security. Now, this is what usually we speak about when you are introducing a change in the organization. What requires is that a psychological safety to be created in the mindsets of the people. Now, most of the things will come out only because of the lack of psychological safety in the mindsets of the people. Now, once you create that psychological safety, then automatically the things will get into a place. Now, here the social disruptions again because of the lack of psychological changes, a psychological safety that is being introduced to the people. The third is cultural. Organizational norms, meaning social mimicry, rituals, language, and values reinforce world that's undesirable patterns of individual thinking and behavior. This is what we spoke about, the old age and present generations. It's about the tall structure versus the flat structure in the organizations. It's from the local company to the global brands. The cultural changes what we speak about. Probably how many people we have introduced lesbians when they introduced into the organizations, how many people accepted? How many people accepted when you have introduced physically challenged people into the organization? Now, these are cultural changes which affect the people to resist for a change. Then last one is the political allegiance, then change power structures, loss of perceived power, influence, control, and autonomy. Now, this is what we discussed. What happens if there is a flat organizational structure? All of us will collapse in terms of our power. Everybody will have access to the top management. Then where is our power? Where is the need for our team leader position, managerial position? What happens? Now, when there is a change in the organization in terms of a department, in terms of a transfer, when I go from this place to that place, how many people will listen to me? Will I lose all my stakeholders? I was working in one of the companies. The company, the HR policy is very beautiful. Even I liked being an HR head over there. I like that particular policy. Every 3 years, the people should rotate from place to place, especially people who are into business. I was wondering if you rotate people like this, it's going to be a challenge. Then people started explaining to me to understand that particular policy. It's a very simple. There is a chance of what we call it as people getting associated or closer to those business holders. Then there's a chance for corruption. Now that's where when we start moving it, 3 years, these people will only focus on the business to get those things. Already existing customers will be already associated with a loyal to the organization. Now, when these people will go, they start working on the new establishments and new businesses. And there is no scope for corruption because new fellow comes in, he sees, and then he understands the corruption of the previous person. So therefore, there is no corruption. Now, probably when there is a change, All these people will feel this kind of problems. Okay, I'm going to lose a stand in this particular place. I've been 15 years in the same place. Today you change. What happens to me? Now look at various dilemmas that the people have. Now that's why exactly I'm focusing on how is that we can work on that. So these are certain assumptions that people have, and why they resist is because of these assumptions. Now we have one more very interesting, this one we have seen about Kutlewins, and Kutlewins also speaks about the force field analysis, the process of determining which forces drive and which forces resist a proposed change. It's a very, very important for every change agent to analyze this. Now he speaks about what are the driving forces. He calls it as what forces people drive the change. Driving forces, thought of as the problems or opportunities that provide motivation for a change. The driving forces are which see the current situation as the problem, or they see future as an opportunity. Now, these are only two sets of the people who motivate the other people for a change. So that means it says very clearly, either if you want the people to get motivated, the people should see either the current situation as a problem or future situation as an opportunity. Now, these are the two things which are working as a driving forces in the organization for any change. Forget about even the organization, even for the individuals, these are only two things which act as a driving force. That's opportunity as or as a threat. Now, what are the restraining forces that they see? Probably one is lack of resources. Now, as I was mentioning, shifting the office from one location to the other location. Now, I've been comfortable in this office or comfortable in this house for so many years. Now, if my house is shifted from this place to the next place, what happens? Will I get my friends? Will I have the same community? Will I have the people talking to me? Will I be different? Will people will be different? Will I get these facilities? Today, I can sit here, I can call and I can ask my neighbors to get it done. If I change, will I get that comfort? Lack of resources. So that resources is one restraining force. And second one is resistance from middle managers. The most of the time, these are the creed. You see, I would call it most of the time as a sandwiched people, these middle managers. Now, why I would call it as a sandwiched? They have to get instructions from the top and they have to pass. They have to manage these two segments of the people. They have to manage the upper people, they have to manage the lower people. Now, these are the key people who can implement the change or who can stop the change. Because these are the people who see this change management from two different perspectives. They see from top, they see from lower, and they can play the game there. And then inadequate employee skills. When somebody sees, when typewriters are introduced, sorry, computers are introduced, people are working on the typewriters, they have to switch on to this. Now, probably when they switched on to this, their skill set needs to be improved. Their speed needs to be improved. When people today, when we introduced a chat GPT today, probably 10 people are doing a work and chat GPT is doing 10 people's work. What happens to the rest of the 9 people? Skill set. How do you optimize your skill set? That's again another restraining force. So I just wanted to have an activity, but today it's not possible, probably because I committed that I will, at least I'll give you some few minutes to enjoy. But anyway, this activity, you can do it. Identify what are the driving and restraining process to implement this change. So now here, I wanted to give you one case study, but anyway, now I'm not giving you. So this activity, probably you can look at your free time. Look at your organization. Look at your organization. Identify one change you as a HR, you as a L&D, you as a change agent want to implement in your organization or in your department or in your team. Now, probably if you are a groups, then I would have grouped you into this one, and then I would have given you a scenario. But now you look at this. Identify a change that you wanted to implement either in your organization or in your department or in your team or in your house. I'm drilling it down, or in your house at home. Now think over it. What could be probable forces which are driving this particular change? What could be probable forces which are restraining this particular change? I want you to look at a home. Suppose you are in a rented house. You want to change to a different location. Identify what are the driving forces. Identify what are the restraining forces. From a child perspective, from your family counterpart perspective, spouse perspective, and then from your perspective. Or maybe you want to change in your department. Probably you are working in the function wise, you want to work in the department wise, some different change. Identify driving forces from your perspective, from refraining forces from your perspective. Identify driving forces from your team's perspective, restraining forces from your team's perspective. Identify driving forces from your stakeholders' perspective and restraining factors from your stakeholders' perspectives. Take at least 3 different elements and then work on it. Maybe probably a couple of you can share next week when you attend this particular session. Would that be okay? Because actually I wanted to give you 5-10 minutes here and then come back. But since I want to let you go, I'm leaving you this as a homework file. Is that fine with all of you?
Yes, yeah.
I'm seeing thumbs up. I'm seeing hands raised. Kishore, you are saying okay, or you have a doubt?
Dr. Reddy, I just wanted to understand a couple of things over here. So,
Yes, please.
I think whenever we are talking about the changes, so I think last time also we did speak about one of the change in my organization. Like right now, they are moving from hybrid to a 5 days working culture again.
Yeah.
So all the employees like who are part of Bangalore team, earlier they were doing 3 days in office, 2 days from home, and now there is a policy change like where from 1st of April onwards, everyone will be supposed to work from the campus itself.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Now, when we talk about these kind of a changes, I think from the business perspective or maybe from the organizational perspective, there will be definitely certain drivers because they really want everyone to be there instead of putting something on hold or maybe on halt. They want that people can collaborate or maybe speak to someone in person rather than just mailing it across, waiting for that particular individual to like receive the call, because most of the time it happens during the WFH environment. Sometimes people do not respond.
Mm.
When you are seeing someone, you can definitely walk up to that particular person, go to that particular aisle or a workstation, and then ask him that okay, this that is something like which is a P0 for me. How you
Mm.
can define in your purview and then get this particular thing done. So that is something like which the HR is actually right now trying to do. But when we talk about the employees per se, I think a lot of friction or maybe I would say the resistance come into place. Why? Because one, when we talk about the Bangalore as a city from the traffic per se, correct. Second thing, like when we talk about the cabs or maybe the commutation, which is really, really on a higher side. Third, when
Mm.
they are being offered the cab services, still they are not able to accommodate those timings. Because let's say if someone
Mm.
wants to be there by 10, but the cabs are
Mm.
reaching their places by 6:30 or 7,
Mm.
and sometimes they will be at the office by 8:30 or 9 when then there is no one, or otherwise if they will be stuck in traffic, they will not be able to make it by 9:30 or 10 as well, and they will be
Correct.
missing on certain important connects. So I
Mm.
think it will be a combination of it. So the way like you are just trying to ask us that okay, you can identify one of the changes and then what are the drivers, what are the resistance. So most of the time when it comes to the organization business aspects, there will be drivers.
Mm.
From the employee, most of the time it is the resistance.
Correct.
Very, very minimal drivers like we generally see whenever there is a big organizational changes are happening.
Mm.
And similarly, I think when you were also showcasing the like different four kind of a thing, when ideological or maybe social, cultural, I think sometimes we feel that it's a combination of all these kind of a thing.
Hmm.
Political views, I think rarely people want to discuss right now, or maybe nowadays. Earlier, the people used to like give it in a very, very candid manner. No, I am a hardcore supporter of this particular party. Why? Sometimes they were not able to showcase or maybe share with us, but they were the
Correct.
hardcore like followers.
Hmm.
Right now, people do not know. Someone like maybe saying that, okay, I really like one of the leader like who is from the ruling party. Why? Because he's following certain cultural values.
Hmm.
However, when he performs certain things, then the person starts talking about the ideology of that particular person, that no, he is not following now the cultural value, or the ideology is looking something different.
Okay.
So it's a kind of a combination. So I think I just wanted to understand, like when we are going to do this exercise, how should we like redefine, or maybe how should we bifurcate or differentiate between all these kind of a thing?
Okay, good. So I think, frankly, maybe your questions will be answered in subsequent classes, but it's too early, for
Okay.
you to this one. But because, the reason being, I'm saying tomorrow onwards, you are moving it, correct? Monday, April 1st onwards, you are moving.
Correct,
So,
correct.
maybe today, as of now, there is actually a process. I'm sure your HR would have done it to complete the complete process to understand this. Now, today, if it's I don't know, maybe once this moment has happened, first of all, today, whatever we discussed, is certain kind of restraining forces from the people. As I said, those four, maybe self-interest related to political, those 4 + 4, 8 different ideological perspectives against their own interest levels. Now, if you understand, most of those restraining forces would be because of the lack of proper communication, would be one. Second, probably because of those issues that are concerns that are raised by the stakeholders are not being addressed by these people. Now, it may not be immediately the change process. Once people started coming into office, you would experience at least 3 to 4 months time. Every day you are coming into this stage. And I spoke to you, I think today I mentioned to you how people get into this kind of depression as well, the change. Let me just give you that model where we spoke about. I'm just sharing for the sake of quick. I don't want to take much time, though I committed, and again we are into same old stage. So if you look at this particular model, if you're saying Kobler's model, you
Correct.
look at this is the shock and denial. These are the
Hmm.
people in the first two stages, Jugal.
Yes.
Shock and denial. Why again? Out of so many constraints, so much of traffic, so much of this, all those people are in this one. But you are forcing them to come. Therefore, you would experience this anger and depression in your organization. Now, next to 3 to 4 months, this is the experience that you are going to have anger and depression from the people. Probably you would be getting ready to experience the low performance, low output as well. Now,
Hmm.
this is a time to identify you as a change agent, identify those 8 elements that we discussed today. Those 8 elements that we discussed today, that's basically what we spoke about. It's a self-interest, lack of understanding, or uncertainty, or different assessments to ideological assumptions, social assumptions, cultural assumptions, political assumptions. Now, this is where you can understand. And once you understand, then you address those issues to the people, then they start integrating it, accepting it. That's a fifth level of change of a Kubler-Ross model.
Got
Now,
it.
there's nothing. Now you can't do anything except understanding this third stage, anger and depression, accept it. But during this stage, you as a change agent, you have to drive the forces over there now. Being empathetic with the people and then addressing certain concerns. I'll tell you one organization, same phase. They were asked to come to office. It's almost, people started saying we don't have transport, it's not available, and the time is getting clogged here, and you are giving 9:30 swipe in, and if you miss, then you are cutting a salary and everything. Even this particular organization was same, anger and depression mode. Then they have introduced two things. One is they have introduced a common transportation, company cost. Initially, company cost. Second, they said flexibility time. They said 9:30 to 6 o'clock. Today, you can work from 8:30 to 10:30 and then 5:30 to 7 o'clock, whatever it is. That flexibility. You know what happened? Initial stages, that flexibility made a lot of people to calm down from their anger.
Correct.
So maybe one or two interventions will help them to come out of that particular change. Later on, you can start introducing with based upon the feedback, you can introduce a lot of those things. Okay.
Sure.
Good, then thank you so much. I wanted to give you 15 minutes, but I'm giving you only grace time of 5 minutes. Oh, sorry for that, but enjoy your festival. Wish you all a happy Ugadi, Gudi Padava, whatever the kind of name that we have. Enjoy the celebration. We'll meet in next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Same to you.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Wishing
you.
you the
Bye-bye.
same, Dr. Reddy.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.